New Hampshire lawmakers look to Utah for ways to solve the state's $4 billion pension crisis. Coming up in the cloakroom. Hi, I'm Bosse from New Hampshire Watchdog, and this is The Cloakroom, a video magazine from the Josiah Bartlett Center for Public Policy. The New Hampshire retirement system expects to pay more than $4 billion more in future pension benefits than it expects to take in from employee contributions, employer contributions, and returns on those investments. House and Senate members have spent their summer trying to look at how to transition from a defined benefit plan where taxpayers are responsible for any shortfall in pension benefits to a defined contribution plan where employees bear more risk but also own their pensions like a 401k plan. A special House Committee on Retirement Reform invited State Senator Dan Liljenquist to Concord to hear how Utah reformed its public pension system. Liljenquist spearheaded legislation in that state which shifts employees hired after June 30th to a new retirement system that gives them a choice between a defined contribution plan or a hybrid plan. Liljenquist says Utah did a pretty good job funding its pension obligations until the stock market crash of 2008.
In 2008, we lost $4 billion in that system, and across all of our systems, we lost $4.8 billion in 1 year.
He argues that without dramatic reform, the Utah retirement system would eventually have gone bankrupt.
What we found out is we are going to have to pay up to 10% of our general fund in the state of Utah for 25 years, our amortization period, to pay for the 2008 market losses. We candidly had no idea we were bearing this much risk as a state. No idea. And so having the data was very helpful to us as we looked forward and tried to see where we're going.
New Hampshire lawmakers included some modest reforms to the current system in this year's budget, and even those small steps prompted massive protests from public employee unions. Liljenquist says he needed to make the case to his state's workers that doing nothing was not a responsible option.
The biggest hurdle is inertia and trying to show people what the true cost of the 2008 market crash really is. And so by looking forward and gathering that data, that's how we were able to build the case that if we have another year like 2008, we won't survive it.
Dave Lang heads up the Professional Firefighters of New Hampshire, which along with other public sector unions has fought pension reform in the legislature and in court. But he says he heard some good things in Liljenquist's presentation.
I thought the senator said a lot of important things. One of the things I thought the senator said was we have to stop kicking the can down the road. Since 1990, in this building, the legislature has been kicking the can down the road and foregoing payments to the unfunded accrued liability.
The biggest objection from unions is that lawmakers are trying to shift all the risk from a shaky stock market from employers to employees. But Liljenquist told the committee that when the market can't meet a retirement system's optimistic projections, taxpayers aren't the only ones who end up paying more.
I think everybody's paying for the 2008 market crash, and the public employees are paying for it right now by foregone cost of living increases, increased burden of healthcare burdens that are being shifted to them because there's no money. And so when you have to divert hundreds of millions of additional dollars into a pension system to pay for market losses, that comes at a cost. It is coming at a cost of fewer teachers in classrooms in Utah, which increases burdens on teachers. Comes at the cost of foregone cost of living increases and other things.
Lang says despite a contentious relationship with the Republican-dominated legislature, New Hampshire unions are willing to come to the table even if a defined contribution plan is under discussion.
The New Hampshire Retirement Security Coalition is willing to sit down and talk and work through any type of plan and discuss all types of plans that ensure that there is a quality retirement benefit attached to it, that the costs are predictable for the employer, the benefits are predictable for the employee, and that all the facts are placed on the table.
Senator Fenton Gruen was in the audience for today's forum. He plans to introduce a reform plan centered around a defined contribution system soon, which the Senate will take up in January. You can follow the pension reform process at newhampshirewatchdog.org. For the Josiah Bartlett Center for Public Policy, I'm Bosse. Thanks for joining us in The Cloakroom.